Well, we know happening right now, Supreme Court justices are hearing arguments for and against President Trump's tariff mechanism. Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law joins us with some insight on this hearing. Roger, a pleasure. You've been keeping a close eye on the situation leading up to this point. Your thoughts on how you see this will play out?
Well, good to be with you, Suzanne. As you said, the oral argument is today, and it's going to be interesting to see how the questioning goes. Pay attention, I would say, to what, if anything, Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Barrett, Justice Kavanaugh have to say. Justice Thomas rarely asks questions and rarely makes comments during oral arguments, so I don't expect any insight there. But it's difficult to kind of get a feel for where they might be going based on questioning. That can be misleading. Sometimes you can kind of get a good indication, but often that can not prove to be true. So it's kind of tough, but it'll be interesting to see what questions do come up.
So we're looking at the questions and what they're going to be asking, but also I think a lot of people just feel like they're holding their breath as to when we can expect a decision. Let me ask you that, and also how you see the outcome impacting the balance of power between executive and judicial branches.
Well, to answer your first question first, I think they'll move pretty quickly on this. I think you'll see a decision pretty fast, definitely by the end of the year, which is unusual, but this is an unusual case. Now, on the balance of power, that balance of power has already shifted. 6 times since 1930, Congress has delegated more and more tariff authority to the president. And so if the Supreme Court reverses that trend, then it weakens the U.S. position against other countries that take economic action against the U.S. Congress is a deliberative body. They don't act very quickly to much of anything, particularly now. They're very fractured. And so if you have a country such as China or some other country that takes tariff action against us and the president can't react quickly to that with an offsetting tariff, that puts us at a tremendous disadvantage. And I think, Suzanne, if they uphold the lower court on this, you're going to see $5,000 come off, or 5,000 points come off the stock market immediately, probably a 10% drop. The bond market would be crushed initially on this. So this is something the justices know that, and that'll be pointed out to them at oral argument, or at least should be pointed out, that this is an economic issue. This is not something for the court to enter into. And in fact, I think that the action taken by the Senate in trying to reverse some of the tariff action, that's an indication to the Supreme Court that they need to stay out of this, because that's the Congress saying, look, this is our job. And I think that's one way that the Supreme Court can read that. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting day.
Absolutely. Of course, ramifications, especially with all the headway that the administration is making with trade. You're going to be joining Scott Shellady later today on Cal Guy Close, that is, to review any updates from today's hearing. So we'll be watching for that. Thank you, Roger, on that. I want to switch gears before I let you go. Many farmers speculating over the future of a standalone farm bill, giving that significant provisions, they were included in the big, beautiful bill. But there are issues that still need to be addressed outside of the act. So what are we looking at? We keep hearing skinny farm bill. Is this still on the table?
Well, yeah, I think it is, because there are a lot of things that the Congress cannot address in terms of farm bill related provisions in a reconciliation bill. And that's what the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was. And that's where the commodity title was at. Now, that's in a reconciliation bill. And what I'm talking about there that they can't do in a reconciliation bill would be your conservation provisions, your nutrition provisions like SNAP, although OBA did have some budget related changes concerning SNAP in terms of eligibility. Rural development, you can't do that in a reconciliation bill. Research and extension and education and forestry and horticulture and specialty crops, those are the things that you cannot address by the way the rules work in a reconciliation bill. That has to come through separate legislation. So that would be what they would address in a so-called skinny farm bill.
We're out of time, Roger, unfortunately, but real quick, will it happen before the end of the year?
I don't know. Well, they've got to come back into session first, which now post-election, I think is going to happen pretty quickly. All
right. Thank you. As always, great information. Looking forward to seeing you later today on Cal Guy Close. That is Roger McEowen with the Washburn School of Law. Again, he's going to have updates from today's tariff case with the Supreme Court on Cal Guy Close.